Why, hello, fellow Patriots, and welcome back to the Patriot Dad channel, where we can discuss current events and modern issues, all while keeping it as real as possible. Today, we're sitting down with the Rogue Dermatologist, Dr. Yuval Bibi, to discuss Gillette's quite anti-male marketing campaign, The Best Men Can Be, 5 years later. This retrospective conversation was a lot of fun. Enjoy the conversation, everyone. Welcome, Patriots. Thank you for joining us today. We are joined by Dr. Yuval Bibi, the Rogue Dermatologist, and we are going to be doing a little bit of a discussion around wokeness and the 2019 Gillette campaign for The Best Man Can Be. So, how's it going, Dr. Bibi?
It's going excellent. It's great to be here on another glorious episode of Patriot Dad.
That's right. Thank you for joining us. And so, when this ad originally came out, I don't know if you saw it the day it came out or if you just saw some of the media around it. I actually happened to be watching the Super Bowl when this came out. But what was your initial thoughts and reactions to this video? Because I know personally, when I watched it, I felt like it was kind of an attack on just men in general. It kind of demonized a lot of the normal male behavior, and to try and fight that biology, sure, we can try and do a little bit better, but this ad really seemed to target everything and say that kind of maleness needed to be fixed. At least that's kind of how I perceived it. I was kind of curious on what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, I think what you said is absolutely spot on. And what really got my attention is that this was around the time of the Me Too era. And what I perceived this to be was a cynical attempt to ride the coattails of that movement and the political atmosphere that was prevalent at the time, and to make money based on the misery of both men and women at the time. And people were very miserable, very, very emotional, very mad at each other. And I thought that these people were basically making bank on people's misery. And that really turned me off.
Yeah, I mean, during that whole Me Too era, it really just seemed like these companies just kind of all jumped on the bandwagon. They were using it as a way for basically marketing purposes and trying to attract a different demographic or expand the demographic that their products were used for. But when it comes to a company like Gillette, I mean, Gillette is so traditionally kind of attached to, male grooming and shaving products, but women have their own shaving products. Gillette was pretty much the best a man can get. They said it themselves.
Right. And what's really surprising, and I thought it was a very good surprise, is that people were not buying it. And men across the board, and by the way, many women as well, responded very negatively to this commercial. They thought, and rightfully so, that they were being played. And a lot of people saw through this and saw it for what it was, which was a cynical attempt to cash in on a very, very negative time and very heated political atmosphere, as we said before. So people saw right through it. The responses were negative across the board. I mean, they garnered some positive responses, mind you, but not from anybody who they needed to actually get to buy their products. And a lot of people said goodbye to Gillette, and some people actually said goodbye to Procter & Gamble wholesale and a lot of their subsidiary products and brands. And I, for one, was one of them. I actually stopped using across the board, not only Gillette products at the time, but also Procter & Gamble brands, which I researched fully right after this came out. As you know, I am a dermatologist. Many dermatologists make recommendations for patients to buy products from skincare companies. Yep. And I was making recommendations, as many dermatologists do, for no pay, by the way, just thinking these products are nice products. They're easy to come by. They are relatively affordable. I mean, they're all the razor brands are scams, mind you. They're overpriced. They wear off very easily. But I was making recommendations as one of the many brands that I recommended for Gillette products, and I stopped making those recommendations after having watched that commercial and realized what that company was about.
At the time, I stopped. I still don't use Gillette products, and at the time, I thought I was doing great, right? But like you pointed out, they own a bunch of other brands, and it reminds me a lot of the more recent issues with Bud Light and people boycotting that, but then going and drinking another beer that Anheuser-Busch makes. So like I thought I was doing great. And then you sent me a list of all of the brands, and I started to look into it more. And I realized I have a bunch of Procter and Gamble products in my house. And I think, like you were pointing out in your dermatologist office, you hand out a lot of products, but I have a nice little example here where I've got what my dentist handed out: Oral-B and Crest, both Procter and Gamble. I have no Gillette. I thought I was doing a really good job, and I'm sure a lot of other people kind of thought the same thing. But with all this consolidation and Procter and Gamble owning so many brands, like I honestly wasn't aware of how many things I still had. Now, going forward, I plan on being better educated, and I hope that other people are too. Do you have a couple that you would recommend, both in skincare products or shaving products, for maybe alternative companies for Procter and Gamble?
Yeah, that's a great question, Matthew. And so no company is perfect. Just before I actually mention a couple of names, they all do their little shenanigan business on the side. But what I found was that Bic is actually a razor company. Well, they produce other things, but their razors are very, very nice. I've not seen any shenanigans from Bic. And as far as skincare products for detergents, soaps, and shampoos, so Vanicream is a very nice company. It's privately owned. I think Bic has as well. So you really don't know what their politics or their agendas are. They can just produce skincare products or whatever it is that they put out there, and you can buy the product and not be concerned with what it is that these people think. And as far as anti-dandruff products and shampoos, well, Selsun Blue is another brand that you can use for dandruff, and Nizoral is another one. So there's plenty of other products. Just do your research and really figure out what the company that you buy from stands for. And you know what? The best companies actually don't stand for any political agenda. They just stand for a great product and for serving their consumers. And I think that should be the only focus of any company that's actually interested in doing business and attracting the most customers.
That's actually a really good point. That's something that I was going to ask about real quick, is whatever happened to companies just focusing on making a good product and delivering it to their consumers and leaving politics out? Just make a good product, deliver that value to the marketplace, and leave politics out of it. You're not going to lose half of your potential consumer base.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I had some discussions before getting on the call. And what's interesting is that the person actually responsible for that commercial, the person who actually launched the campaign, and we're not talking about the filmmakers, they have their own. We're talking about a person named Gary Coombe, who was the head of Gillette at the time and is still with Procter and Gamble. And that person actually was responsible for launching this campaign. And he said in an interview for, I believe it was Business Week, that losing the customers that they lost was a price worth paying. Kind of puts things in perspective as far as where the mindset of that individual is and how much he really cares about the consumers. He wasn't really interested in courting or getting the customership of anyone. He was just interested in making a statement.
Yeah, and you can see here, I actually pulled up his bio page on Procter & Gamble's website. But one of the things that stands out to me is that he's an active champion for diversity and inclusion, serving as executive sponsor for Procter & Gamble's gender equality and LGBT plus affinity groups during his time in Europe and now in Boston. So yeah, you see that's his focus, right? Is this DEI stance that these companies are taking, especially even more nowadays than back in 2019. But yeah, I can see where you're saying he's still with the company. He's been with the company since 1986.
You know, whatever anyone thinks about DEI or any one of these things Mr. Coombe stands for, they have nothing to do with selling razors. And I think that's the point. It really doesn't matter where you stand on those issues. Those issues have zero relevance to selling razor blades for shaving.
I don't know why these DEI programs are even necessary. Just make a good product.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. Just make a great product and sell it to the people who want it. And do the best job at that. Absolutely.
Like we talked about, it just doesn't make sense to me from a company perspective. You want to sell a product, that should just be you making a good product and selling it in the marketplace to people who want it. That just makes the most sense to me. I don't know why we need all this politics involved in it.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I think you see that type of behavior in corporate advertising and promotion when you're really dealing with other people's money. So
Mm.
these people really aren't accountable for their decisions. I don't think the people responsible for this campaign suffered any real consequences. And I don't think they lost any money personally based on what happened, even though Gillette suffered tremendously right after the commercial and the campaign was launched, suffered a major blowback. A lot of people have not returned to the brand. And I can tell you that it's interesting. Recently, I attended a business seminar with several of our colleagues. Everybody across the room spontaneously said they're well aware of this campaign, and I'm paraphrasing, they will never use Gillette again.
It probably wouldn't take a lot for these companies, if they were being genuine, to come back from this. Just be like, look, we understand we messed up. We got politics involved in it. It didn't need to be. We just want to deliver you the best product we can, and we want to move forward. The same thing with any of these other companies that are facing boycotts or backlash is there is a lot of grace in traditional Americans, right? If you have Christian values, grace is a huge component of that. But part of that is you have to repent. If there's no repentance in it, then there's not going to be a lot of grace from us. So yeah, I would love to give them another chance at some point, but they've got to do something to earn it. I'm not just going to go back to their products with this kind of taste in my mouth.
Yes, you bring in several excellent points. First of all, contrition and forgiveness and grace are principles of the Judeo-Christian faiths, and they are some of the fundamentals of American culture and tradition. But there has to be contrition before there is forgiveness, especially between people. You cannot just forgive somebody because you feel like it. They have to really have their moment of realizing that they went wrong and that they made a mistake. In the case of Gillette and Procter and Gamble, these people have expressed no contrition, no regret over launching this campaign. In fact, as we read in that article, Mr. Coombe actually was very proud of that campaign and thought it was a price worth paying. That is not contrition. So I don't think forgiveness is really something that they deserve at this point. And, it's not a matter of anger anymore. It's just that there are other brands out there who don't resort to this type of shenanigan and actually respect their customers. Again, we never know what goes behind closed doors, but public space-wise, their promotional efforts are not like Gillette's. So I'm going to go with those people any day of the week. Yeah. And I personally will not use their products again. I think that time for contrition has really passed as far as Gillette's concerned. But I do think that there's a lesson to be learned for other companies. I think a lot of them work very well. These people have been in business, especially the advertising companies and the people who are in charge of promotion at these companies. They've been in charge of those efforts for a long time. They have experience. They know how to draw customers in, and they know what works. And they also have plenty of experience in what does not work. They should take their cues from the public, and they should launch campaigns accordingly that really support the brand and not somebody's personal agenda or personal beliefs that have nothing to do with the brand. And by the way, have nothing to do with people that they claim to help or to champion. This has nothing to do with any of that. That is just a smearing campaign that was just negatively launched against a demographic that, frankly, they just don't like very much.
Yeah, I think the person that we would be talking about in this campaign was Kim Gehrig. It's interesting, like you pointed out, when you look at her personal webpage, she scrubbed this promotion campaign off of her personal website.
Yeah, she sure did. So Kim Gehrig actually, and just for our audience, Kim Gehrig is the director of this commercial, what they called a short film, because it was very artistic and pretentious. But Kim Gehrig, who's a veteran filmmaker of various political causes, kind of strewn throughout her filmmaking career, she knew better than to scrub that film off her website and off her portfolio. And she does not actually showcase that film. She showcases a number of other films that are very much in line with what that film was, but she does not showcase that commercial.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And also on your own website, you actually have your own skincare product, a lotion.
Right. So we actually produce a vegan all-natural balm that's made with 3 or less edible ingredients, edible organic ingredients. And again, the intent was to create something that is, first of all, takes no political stance or any sort of stance as far as ideology or religion or anything else that's not related to skincare. In fact, what my personal philosophy is, I work for my patients, I work for the individual that I see in clinic, and I want the product to be about them and to do the utmost work for them. So I don't sprinkle my political or my religious beliefs into the mix here. I basically want to create the best skincare product, want to tailor make the best skincare treatment for that individual, and their identity or beliefs or anything about them that's not related to skin and is not related to their care does not have anything to do with it. We do have to focus here, and we have to really deliver the best results for the individual that we're serving.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Although I've seen some of your shorts, and I know some of these skincare products have dozens and dozens of ingredients. Are you sure that that's enough ingredients in your skincare product?
Yeah, no, it's never enough for these people. And it's pretty staggering to see how many ingredients are just thrown in there. It's mind-boggling. And you know, for our viewers who have not watched my shorts or my content, the point that I make often is that a lot of those ingredients are, first of all, they don't serve the consumer to begin with. They're actually there to create a more experientially appealing product, meaning the product may feel nicer, may look nicer, may smell nicer, but it doesn't make it more effective, and it doesn't make it more of value to the consumer. It makes it more of value for the manufacturer. So when I point out those dozens and dozens and dozens, 30 odd, 40 odd, 50 odd, 60 odd ingredients in a product, the point is that, first of all, there are way too many ingredients to begin with, even if you were going to take care of these experiential aspects of the product. But the other thing is those ingredients actually dilute the value of the product for the consumer and at the consumer's expense, meaning the consumer is paying the premium for those ingredients that the manufacturers graciously added to the product to make it more fun or more appealing. And that, to me, it's egregious once you realize that it's very, very tough to, to kind of look at these products the same way.
I mean, yeah, what, maybe 15 to 50% of the container of your product is actually some ingredient that might help you in some way, and the rest of it is just something you're paying for, but it's there just to make you feel good.
Yeah, 50% is actually quite optimistic. For the most part, we're dealing with much, much, much smaller percentages, if there's anything that works for the consumer in some of these products. So, and by the way, the ingredients that do work for the consumers in a lot of these products are actually not the best ingredients to work for the consumers. So they're diluted and they're not the best in many cases. So that's something that really has to have the individual, the consumer, educate himself or herself. And first of all, consider what it is that they're using the product for to begin with, and really have a very clear, crystal clear, and granular reason why they're using the product. And second, what is the makeup of the product and how does it serve their purposes? And in many cases, they'll come up with the conclusion that the product is actually not serving them at all, which means they're paying someone else to rob them, which is very, very bad in my book. I don't want to see anybody getting robbed.
That's very nice of you. I agree. And if anyone wants to learn any more, they can always check out your channel, because your YouTube channel at the Rogue Dermatologist is full of wonderful advice when it comes to whether you need a product or not, or alternatives to some products. You have a video on the hot water challenge. You have a video on all kinds of other things. So if people think they may not need a product, they may be able to find a video on your channel that might kind of give them a good starting place. So I would highly recommend anybody that is interested to definitely check out the channel at the Rogue Dermatologist. Dr. Yuval Bibi, thank you very much. This was a great time. Like I said, I would love to do this on other topics and other brands at some other time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you, sir. Great to be here again, and God bless you.
All right. Have a good day. And thank you to those of you that made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos and interviews like this one, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon and select all notifications to be notified when I upload additional content to the channel. Please share this video with friends and family to spread the word and trigger discussions. Feel free to leave a comment if you have a recommendation for a future topic, a future reaction, or a future interview that you would like to see on this channel, as the majority of videos on this channel come from recommendations from viewers just like you. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care, everyone. God bless, and bye for now. Go ahead and check out one of the links on the screen now to either subscribe to the channel and see the rest of the videos of the channel, or one of the carefully selected videos that you may wish to see that YouTube has used its algorithm to select for you.